Okay, everyone has probably at least one decade that they would say was the most influential in their fashion choices. These choices are probably heavily influenced by the music and the popular artists of that time. Fashion trends have dramatically changed throughout the past decades and have been made popular by some of music's most prominent artists that we're going to go through today.
Okay, so we're starting off with the revolution of the 60s. You had the Vietnam War starting, the Civil Rights Movement was going, feminism was becoming the big thing, and you had the sexual revolution. A lot of the artists moved towards there was a lot of rock genres that came up in the 60s. There was like surf, psychedelic, roots rock, folk rock, and a lot of protest music, mostly about the Vietnam War. A lot of people wanted to promote peace and stuff, so a lot of music involved peace, love, happiness, sharing, all that stuff. A lot of main artists you had, Jimi Hendrix was a big one. You got Janis Joplin, the Beatles, and the big trend that everyone had going was really colorful clothing. Thrift shopping was a big thing before Macklemore. Floral prints, paisley, tie-dye, the brighter the colors, the bolder, the better. You put together basically whatever they found in the local thrift stores or in the back of your mom's closet, whatever was laying there. They were moving, the music and the fashion moved away from the more conservativeness of the 50s. Jimi Hendrix was pretty instrumental in popularizing the Afro. Mostly it was the civil rights. The Black Panther Party sort of got the Afro really going as Black Power, but then Jimi Hendrix kind of brought it into the mainstream and all white people started doing it. And he's got the bell-bottoms and stuff, that's a big thing. The crazier the prints, the better. A lot of people had really big belts. Woodstock was a good example of all the music and all the fashion coming together. A lot of big artists were going back to natural hair, really long. The guys were wearing really long hair, really long beards, kind of dressing more feminine in rebellion of the 50s type gender roles. Silk scarves were big on men. Women burned bras and left off the makeup and stopped shaving. The bohemian style was the biggest thing in the 60s. And a lot of the main fashion icons and the musicians were borrowing from all kinds of different ethnic groups all over the world. Janis Joplin is a good example. She was one of the very prominent singers of the time. You can see she's not wearing the bra. She's got the crazy hair going, and big belts and lots of beads were a big thing. The gaudier, the better. The Beatles are probably the first thing you think of when it comes to colorful wardrobes of the 60s. And then we moved on to the punk rock scene of the 70s. A lot of this was sort of a rejection of the peaceful, pacifist, hippie type way of thinking. By the 70s, people were basically fed up with all the wars and the fighting. And they were angry about things. The economy was going down, unemployment was going up, and the punk scene really took off. A lot of it was Their Ramones was a big name. You got them sporting the blue jeans, which is the ripped blue jeans was big, the leather jackets. A man named Malcolm McLaren, a fashion designer in New York, he's tried to use a group called the New York Dolls to change their image and bring about a new kind of look of fashion, the grunge 70s punk look. And that didn't work out, so he moved back to London and opened up a shop that he literally just called Sex. And then he took the kids that used to hang out there because they didn't have jobs or anything, and he put them into a band, and that's how you ended up with the Sex Pistols. And their big thing was very loud, in your face. They were a huge influence in the UK in the 70s. It was mostly people under 25 following them, people who were angry about everything. Leather jackets, safety pins, lots of leather. BDSM was a big inspiration in the fashion choices. You got the Rolling Stones, everyone was wearing more relaxed t-shirts, the tighter fitting jeans, boots, fishnet, studs and spikes everywhere was the big thing. Dark eyeliner, boys and girls were wearing it. Mohawks were huge. That was the big staple of the London 70s scene. Blondie, the Ramones, Clash, New York Dolls, Sex Pistols, even the Runaways, which you might have seen a movie about, Kristen Stewart. Those were all really prominent, influential, fashion-focused bands of the time. And that's kind of what inspired the following decade of 80s glam metal.
Okay, so by the second half of the 80s, glam metal had become really popular. Bands such as Kiss, Twisted Sister, Motley Crue, and Poison really popularized this genre. Men and women started taking their fashion choices from these bands and were wearing tight ripped, acid-wash jeans, long teased hair, leather jackets, and more stylized makeup too. This genre really blurred the lines of masculinity at the time and kind of made a new form of it. These bands, such as Poison here, really proposed a carefully projected form of masculinity. Their lyrics and tough persona were combined with their androgynous styling to really form a new type of masculine sexuality. So, after this decade was the 90s, which some may call the golden age of hip-hop. It's characterized by diversity, innovation, and an honest rendering of the artist's everyday life. The lyrics sometimes involved a lot of self-glorification, but also were used as a platform for social issues such as violence, drug use, culture, and religion. Unlike many of today's artists in the same genre, it's not as much characterized by marketing strategies, but by the regions and communities that the artists were from. Tupac, extremely influential East Coast artist from Harlem, New York. Most people would probably think of him with his front tie bandana if they just had one picture popping in their head from him. This was one of his styles that is still remembered today, along with his West Coast rival, Biggie Smalls, who, due to his immense popularity, really gained a lot of fashion trends and made them popular throughout this decade as well. Styles such as silk Versace shirts, Gucci sweaters were made popular by him. Now, this decade and this genre of music may have seemed like more of a man's game at the time, but artist Aaliyah really proved them wrong and proved that a female can also have the same influence and popularity as a man. She described her music as smooth but sweet. She combined her smooth vocals with hard beats to create a really unique sound. Her unique style is probably most characterized by Tommy Hilfiger tube tops, baggy men's jeans, that you still think of her as today. Now, she did die in a tragic plane crash too soon, but current artists such as Rihanna are still keeping the trends that she made popular alive. The golden age of hip-hop is unique in its influence in that it is still influential today and continues to inspire fashion trends throughout many different genres. And that brings us to today's decade and how it influenced that as well.
So now in the early 2000s, I want to go over a little bit about how things have kind of changed throughout that. It's not so much how much they used to wear the clothes that would influence like fans and stuff. They would kind of move to like a marketing sense, and like take for instance Puffy, P. Diddy. He actually opened up his own clothing line, and it was actually in '98 that he opened it, but it carried well over into the early 2000s, and actually they've had annual sales of over $500 million. So you can kind of assume that a lot of people are really buying these clothes and really into it. He actually has a deal with Macy's also, exclusively to sell his clothes there. And Macy's is a huge retail store. Everybody knows Macy's and has probably shopped there before. So he actually also won for his clothing line from the Council of Fashion Designers of America. He won an award for his men's sportswear, and that just goes to show how popular and influential it's become. And then also moving on to a G Unit, everybody can probably remember that. I mean, yeah, exactly. Everyone knows that saying. In their songs, they're always representing the G Unit, and in a lot of their videos and music videos, they're actually wearing G Unit clothes, and it's become very popular. I wouldn't say too much anymore, but definitely it was pretty big for a little while there. The Rocawear by Jay-Z. It was established in 1999, but also carried over into the early 2000s and still to today. They've actually had annual sales of over $700 million. So, that's huge. A lot of people have been influenced by his music and kind of want to represent that by buying his clothes. Just a great achievement. And it's definitely, that doesn't show you influential, how his music is, going to grab a lot of fans' attention. Great sales. Moving on. We got, everybody remembers the bling from early 2000s. That was huge. A lot of music videos I can personally remember on MTV. They all had some crazy. Everyone was trying to outdo the next person, showing off who had the best jewelry. And the bling term actually came from, I don't know if you've ever seen like in a cartoon or something, when you look at a diamond you get that glimmering like bling sound, and it's kind of the imaginary sound that you would hear of light like shining off of a diamond. So that's kind of where the term came from. And I just huge influence from all the videos of the time, all like the lyrical influence. And move on. You guys remember, everyone had a grill. It was a huge thing. Very popular, and also very popularized by the Nelly song with Paul Wall back in, I think it was 2005, I think it was. 2005 the song was released. And it was really popularized due to the rise of southern hip-hop movements. And it really became kind of fashionable. A lot of people were spending like thousands of dollars on diamonds for your mouth. Crazy innovation, I guess. Gonna move on. You guys remember the Kanye shades? Show shades? He brought them back. Became very popular, and they were very high in sales, especially due to his glow-in-the-dark tour that was in 2008. And he brought it up, started wearing them in all of his shows, and all his fans started buying these glasses. I've had a pair or two, to be honest myself. Never really wear them because they make the visibility kind of hard to see, but it's definitely been very influential to all the fans. And now we're going to move on to today's, how artists of today have affected our style. First off, I want to talk about Wiz Khalifa and his deal with Converse. We've all heard, most of us probably heard in all his songs, how he talks about Taylor Gang, his crew, and they all wear Chuck Taylor Converse. Raps about it in like almost all of his songs. And he's actually signed a deal with Converse. And in 2011, when his first album came out, it's been just spreading since then. And now he's got his own deal for shoes. Sales are doing really well. I don't have an exact number on it, but they're pretty high. And then we have Katy Perry. She's a very popular singer. She's had like numerous awards she's won. So she's pretty popular, and now she's influencing girls and maybe some guys who like to wear makeup by doing advertising for CoverGirl. And that's a very wide-known brand too, so it's reaching a lot of people. A lot of people are being influenced by this as well. And also, I have a little video here.
CoverGirl introduces the next generation of beautiful.
What's next? You! And makeup that won't weigh you down. New Nature Luxe ups your beautiful with a light as air feel. And new Lip Perfection makes your lips more beautiful in 7 days. Join the beauty movement to help all of us rock the CoverGirls we are. Get samples, rewards, get involved at Facebook.com. The next generation of easy breezy beautiful is you. CoverGirl, rocking it for 50 years.
So now she's kind of a new face that is very popular and is definitely influencing all of her fans who kind of want to be like that. They're seeing these makeup ads now, and they're the sales are going up because of that. Using these big stars that are now influencing what we buy. And just recently, this was actually just a couple of days ago, Nicki Minaj, very famous and popular Young Money, she was in that group. She's actually now, she dropped her own pair of Jordans, Jordans. And that's huge too. Like, if you have a fan base large enough where you can sell your own pair of shoes, and they're pretty expensive, they're not cheap. It's not just like something you can go buy in a store for like $100. They're going to be resold and be probably worth a couple $1,000 to like the right buyer. And we all know Kanye West, and again, he's definitely trending now, again, for his new shoes. He's actually had 2 pairs of shoes. These are the first ones. These are from the Nike, the Air Yeezys. And he's also now his new shoes are the Adidas, and he's partnering with them. He's got like, these shoes I've seen online go for upwards of like $2,000, close to $3,000 for resale. And that just goes to show how popular it's become, and you know, how influential he is, that people want to pay this much money just to wear something branded by him. So I'm going to conclude this with a little video, and I'm going to fast forward into the part that I want you to see. This is a video by Mac Miller, and basically the whole song is based on, it's called Nikes on My Feet, and it's, you know, it's just straight advertising Nikes and making people that are influenced by him want to get Nikes. Like personally, I kind of like Nikes a little bit more because I like his music and it's kind of influenced me. So I'll play this for you, and so you can hear he just exactly raps about Nikes.
Hey, lace 'em up, lace 'em up, lace 'em up, lace 'em. Blue suede shoes stay crispy like bacon. Nikes on my feet make my cipher complete. I stay shining like the lights on the street in the night. Remus take me shopping when I'm up in New York. Hit the shoe store, gonna cop a few more. You at the mall getting dinner at the food court. I'm in LA eating 22 course. Young boss, bitch, paper in my pockets. I got a closet filled with shoe boxes. Mom said my spending habit a little bit obnoxious, but a pilot stay fresh up in his cockpit. Used to rock hand-me-downs. Now I buy some clothes, wear them out. Hit the club, bitches pull their cameras out. Been in a dream, they beginning to believe. My hotel smell like cigarettes and weed. Shit, with what I'm spitting, they should give me a degree. Good liquor, what I'm sipping isn't cheap. Finna blow, don't snooze, don't sleep. All I really need is some shoes on my feet. Nikes on my feet, keep my sight complete.
So I'm going to cut it off there just because it's kind of a long video, but I wanted you guys to see that how he's kind of showing people like his own style. He's influencing people by that are viewing this. He's rapping about like his particular style, how the shoes kind of just make his outfit, and particularly the Nikes, and also how he talks about how he's dressing fresh and everything. So people that are watching this are being influenced on what he's wearing if they like this particular music, you know, especially hearing Nike, and you know, they're going to want to go get that, and probably they're going to look into what other clothes he's wearing too. So, you know, this is just goes to show how influential music of this decade can be.
So from the 1960s to the 2000s and even to now, music has been a powerful influence on popular fashion trends. It continues to serve as a strong connection between people with similar interests. The clothing that music inspires gives people an easily accessible common ground and will continue to play a critical role in inspiring fashion for decades